AITA for leaving my fiance after he told me to leave my sister alone at the hospital during her emergency eye surgery so I could attend his family dinner. My fiance told me to leave my sister at the hospital so I could attend his family dinner, and then said I needed to get used to it because once we're married, my family comes first. He wasn't joking, and he wasn't saying it in the heat of a moment. He said it like a policy. I'm 28F and got engaged to Rob, 29M, in May. We had a big family meal a couple weeks later, and then planned another dinner for his side in late June so everyone could celebrate properly. Nothing fancy, just a restaurant booking and a night to catch up. Earlier this year, my sister Kim, 32F, had a nasty eye infection that turned into a corneal ulcer, and she'd been waiting for a graft. On the day of that dinner, she called me from A&E crying because her cornea had perforated and she was terrified. Her wife was at work with her phone off, our mom was away, and Kim was there on her own. I told my boss, grabbed my bag, and left work early to get to the hospital. I texted Rob what was happening, and he replied with concern, but immediately added, "Don't forget dinner tonight." When I arrived, Kim was in a side room and staff were moving fast. Gloves on, trays out, people talking over each other. A doctor told us she needed emergency surgery to glue the cornea or she could lose the eye. That hospital couldn't do it, so I signed the paperwork, helped her into the car, and drove her to another hospital. They told us the operation would be at 5:30 p.m., so I texted Rob that I wasn't making the dinner. He called and told me to leave Kim at the hospital and go anyway. I remember standing in the corridor with my phone pressed to my ear thinking, did he seriously just say that? I texted his mom and his brother to explain, because I didn't want anyone thinking I'd bailed out of spite. His mom told me to stay with Kim and update her after the operation, and his brother said not to worry about dinner. Rob still acted like I'd chosen to embarrass him on purpose. Looking back, that's when I realized he didn't see my family as part of his future. He saw them as something to rank below his. After Kim recovered from the immediate crisis, we tried to move on. At the next family dinner, his relatives asked how she was doing, and I showed them a photo of the stitches in her eye because they asked to see it. The second we got home, Rob said I'd made the whole night about my family and then repeated the same message. My family will come before yours, and if I couldn't accept that, we weren't going to work. I went upstairs, packed a bag, and left for my mom's. I kept wondering if I was overreacting, but the more I replayed his words, the worse they sounded. For context, the house is mine. My grandma died and my mom split the inheritance between me and Kim, and I bought this house outright with my share. I spoke to a solicitor and paid £250 to get a 1-4-day Section 8 eviction notice drafted because I didn't want to be stuck living with an angry ex while he dragged things out. I asked Rob to meet me after work at our local pub because it was public and my stepdad would be nearby if I needed backup. I sat down and told him it was over, and when he tried to argue, I said, "I don't want a guy like you," slid the envelope and my engagement ring across the table, and walked out. That night he texted that he wasn't moving out, that he'd contest the notice, and ended with, "We are not over." The next morning he demanded £10,000 for what he claimed he'd paid toward household expenses. His mom was furious when I told her, and she came to the house with his brother while Rob was out and made sure he moved out. I changed the locks and alarm codes and put cameras up. When he later showed up at my door asking to come back, I opened it with the chain still on, told him through the gap he wasn't coming in, and warned I'd call the police if he didn't leave. He started shouting and calling me names, so I shut the door and saved the camera clip. Now a couple friends are telling me to just let him stay temporarily because they feel sorry for him, but none of them will actually take him in themselves. I'm not trying to punish him. I just want peace in my own home. That's when I knew I couldn't marry into a setup where my sister's medical emergency was treated like an inconvenience.